All right, we are almost ready to get started. Let's make sure we got the volumes good. Should be good. Don't need this anymore. Okay, let me just shuffle a few more of these windows around real quick, and then get going. Morning, Johnny. How are you today? All right. Okay, quick introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Tim. Go by foamyguy on GitHub and Discord. The Discord chat is what's visible down there in the corner on the stream. We are on Twitch and YouTube. The links are there in that live broadcast room, so you can hit those links there. Or if you subscribe on Twitch, then you can get notifications, I think, if you turn them on. So I'll try to keep up with the Twitch chat and the Discord chat. This stream we're going to be working on CircuitPython stuff. In particular, I'm going to be using this device right here, which we're showing on the screen. This is a Funhouse, Adafruit Funhouse. It's a microcontroller that runs CircuitPython. If you don't know what that means, it's basically just a small computer. Oh, we don't have a live feed here. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's see if that stays live. Flip this over here so you can see the back. Let's see. Ooh, we could go out just a touch. There we go. Let's roll like that for a bit and see how it works. Again, if you don't know what this is, it's just like a tiny computer. Basically, inside of this bit here is a little computer made by Espressif, ESP32S2. You can see it on the silk screen there. Basically just a real tiny computer that can run some Python code. Shows up as a drive, a thumb drive on your computer, like this CircuitPy drive right here. Has a code.py file. You can just edit this file. If we look inside of it, it just has, pretty regular old Python code. So it's kind of like a version of Python that runs on these little devices. So this is one we're going to be using today. If you like the project, if you want to help support the project, one of the ways you can do that is by purchasing hardware from Adafruit. That's the company that made this device right here. Let's see. Adafruit.com. This is the website. And like I said, this is the Funhouse device. So if you search up Funhouse, you can see this board right here. It's got a screen. It's got all sorts of nice ways to hook up sensors and things. It's got a bunch of built-in sensors as well. And probably the coolest thing about it, in my opinion, is that it has Wi-Fi. So it can access things on the internet. As long as you have a Wi-Fi network for it to join, then it can pull data off of the internet or send data onto the internet, which is really cool. It makes it nice and easy to hook up to home automation projects. That's what this one is kind of aimed at. So Adafruit is the company that makes this device. They are the ones who are putting in the money to back the CircuitPython project. They pay developers full-time to work on the CircuitPython project and foster the community and things like that. So again, if you want to support that project, if you think it's cool, one of the ways you can do that is by purchasing hardware from them. Let's see here. Only finished 6-month project. Nice. Reorganizing and cleaning up the lab. That's awesome. Can start tackling new projects. Yeah, that's always nice to get stuff kind of cleared out of the way. Dive into some new things. So what are we going to be working on today? Broadly speaking, obviously, like I said, CircuitPython. More specifically, we are going to be looking at some graphics libraries to start. And specific one is ImageLoad, CircuitPython ImageLoad library. CircuitPython ImageLoad GitHub. That should get us there. Right here. And we're going to be doing two things. The first one is kind of a sort of housekeeping type issue, which is this issue number 50 right here. And basically what happened is that two things kind of come together to make this necessary. So let's dive into the code also so you can see what we're talking about here. Inside of the code, it's in bitmap. When you go to call load to load an image, that's what this library is all about, loading images from files and then being able to put them onto the screen with display IO. There was a new way introduced to do this, bitmap read into, which got built into the system. I think, yeah, the imports for this are happening right here. So this got added to the CircuitPython system. I believe Kmatch worked on this. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. And it's a new way to read bitmaps, and it uses core code to do the reading, so it's quite a bit faster than the Python code, which used to be here. The thing is, though, this is a fairly recent addition to CircuitPython. So we have some code that was like, if it exists, then import it and use it. If it doesn't exist, like for instance, because the code is running on an older version of CircuitPython that doesn't have this yet, then it falls back. It sets this to none, and it goes back to just using the older way, which was Python code to do, kind of the same reading. And what happened is, basically the way the releases worked out, it turned out there was a release here, 6.2.0 beta 4, where there was a problem with the one that was built into the core. I don't know if it wasn't all the way in there yet, or what the problem was. I don't recall off the top of my head at this time. We could go back and look in the PR maybe that added this if we wanted more insight into it. But the short version is that we added this catch block here, which catches the error that happened on this particular version and then fell back to a workaround. Looks like back to just using Python code to read that image. So we now do have a new release. We have 6.3.0 for a little bit now, so we should be able to get rid of this. So what we're going to do is update the code to take out this catch block, and then test and make sure that it still works correctly on this Funhouse device. And as long as it does, then we will PR that to remove this chunk, and then we'll work on the next thing in this library. So let's start with that. I don't have my PyCharm opened up yet, so let's do that. PyCharm. Let me bounce this here for now. Let's go ImageLoad. I should have had this open. Sorry, folks. ImageLoad. Is this in recents? Maybe. But it's going to be hard to find. Let's just go open. CircuitPython. ImageLoad. This window. Bring this back. We will bring this back and close it. What is this? Control dot. I usually just ignore these and close them, but I leave them on because occasionally I read something and it's something I didn't actually know. So what is this one? Control plus dot. Insert the selected item followed by a dot. Interesting. Control plus dot. So like if it's offering a suggestion for a type or something, and you want to access a property on it, you press control dot. I don't know if I'll remember that. Let's see. Anyway, though, we can probably start a new branch. We should maybe fetch as well. Get fetch Adafruit, or maybe we should check what are the remotes like. Is that wrong? V, lower V. Okay. We have origin still. Why don't we rename that? Get remote rename origin foamyguy. I think, is that right? Yes. Okay. So let's go fetch Adafruit, and now we can make a new branch because ultimately we are going to make a PR. And in fact, you can see actually the branch I'm on here is the fallback that added this code from back when we put it in. So I haven't worked on this library since then. But we want to make a new one. Git checkout b. Let's go remove read into fallback from we on main or master. Let's see. I know there's work in progress to change them all over. This one is on main. So let's go main, and of course we definitely want no track. So checkout name for main, no track. Yeah, that should be good. And I think, why is this bitmap read into is not callable? I think it's probably callable. IDE is probably just not understanding correctly. Maybe this import's not working correctly, so it's getting none. Thinks it's not callable. Could be possible. So basically, this right here is trying to check if bitmap read into is none, then this will be false. We'll go down to this else. So this is the primary workaround, basically. This is like if you're on an old device that doesn't have it, this is the code that will run. This was only if you're on this one specific version, which was, you know, maybe meant to have it, but it didn't work for some reason, wasn't quite in there yet or something. Then we had this extra fallback, because basically this would not be none. It would get imported correctly. Well, it would get imported at least to not be none. And then this would be true. We would go in here, but it would throw this exception. So we had the extra fallback here. So I think we just don't really need try, and don't really need any of this. And we can put this back. And I think that should be all we need to do. I don't know, I guess we shouldn't maybe mess with the white space too much. So let's grab this and put it on the device. Let's go up one. ImageLoad. We're going to put that on CircuitPy inside of lib. And if we already have one, we'll delete it. But actually, this is pretty brand new funhouse, so I don't have anything really on it yet. So we need other libraries. Maybe not, if we just want to show the image. Let me put on some music here for myself. There we go. Okay. Yeah, maybe we don't really need any other. Don't really need any other libraries, I don't think. Let's grab an example. Simple test. That should do good. Let's just take the code and we'll save it in CodePy. Whoops. Let's get the terminal or the serial output there. Yeah, so that is the only library. This would have almost certainly, I think, failed because we don't have the image. Yeah. Let's copy that. Oh, I got a bunch in here. Okay. 4-bit, that's the one it did. Actually, why don't we go up one and just grab this whole directory? That way we could use any of these. We eventually will delete that if we run out of space, but it's probably fine for now, I think. Okay, so that ran, and if we go back to the camera, we can see it executed correctly. It's kind of small in there. It just paints this little picture, which is basically like one of these things. This right here, just a really small version of this. And I think just to make it a little bit easier to see while we're here, we could just scale it up a little bit. So let's do that. Because that should be super easy. I think if we just go on the group, can we pass it to the constructor? Scale 3. Let's try 3. Yeah, okay. So we can just really easily scale that up. We could even go bigger if we wanted. Oh, I didn't save. Let's save that. Okay, so that is working good. Let's see, do we need to do anything else, really? This is the modified code that does not have that catch block. Let's just double check to verify that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that we just pasted it in, but... So we were down here. Yeah. If bitmap read into, do this one. This is right where the try catch was. It's definitely not there, so we copied the correct thing. I believe we should be good to go. Maybe we should test it on... Should we test it on an older version as well? Yeah, I think we should do that. Let's go to CircuitPython.org. Let's go find the funhouse. Let's go to the S3. And let's get something before. So is this a 620 is the earliest one? Let's get that. Yeah, I think that's what we want. I believe that comment said 620 beta 4, so I don't know if this is before or after that, I guess. We'll see. Let's go back to the camera. So we're going to install that version of CircuitPython on this. I already have the UF2 bootloader, so I think I can just do double-click reset. Yeah. And I like this bootloader because it has the image there. I think that's really nice. On the boards that have screens, when they put that little image, it makes it super nice and easy to know that you are in the bootloader correctly, which I think is really cool. Let's go back to here. Okay, let's grab that. I should clear out my downloads. 620, so all we have to do, of course, is just copy the UF2 onto here. So it's kind of hard to see with the lights, but the LEDs on the board blink as like a, TXRX. It's letting you know that stuff's getting written. Okay, my computer is freaking out a little bit because basically once it got done copying, it rebooted itself, which meant the drive disappeared. So then my PC is like, hey, this thing we were just pasting to is gone all of a sudden. So it gives us that little warning. So this does still work correctly, which is good. That means that means one of two things. That means either 620 did already have this, or the fallback is working correctly. Both of which I think are good. Maybe we could find out. I don't think we really need to know in order to make a PR, but I'm a little curious to find out which it is. So let's do this. Let's go print using read into. So if it prints that, okay, we have the old serial. We'll have to reopen this. Let's go start this again. Using read into, it does have it. Okay. So we would have to get a different device if we wanted to test the older path. I think I do actually want to do, just in case. I don't think my change should have affected it, but I do think it's good to just triple check, make sure we aren't going to break anybody's stuff. So I have a Pi portal right here. Do I have a USB? Let me grab a USB cable. Let's plug this in as well. So we'll just trade this out for a few minutes. Okay, Pi portal's here. Let's try to keep the cable out of the way. Get the angle on it so we don't send the light back to the camera. Okay, so let's close this. In this. Looks like CodePy here is not. Oh, both are still plugged in. Let's unplug the funhouse. Cancel. Open. So we're CircuitPy 1 now. Pi portal add text. Oh yeah, this reminds me. I want to play with the new library that Kattni made, the text helper. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. Maybe we'll do that a little while later. This does look fine. I don't think I need to keep this, do I? I don't know. Looks like actually a nice, easy example of the PyPortal library. I kind of like it. Let's go code PyPortal text simple. Py. Okay. Let's grab that same example code. Here we go. So we should probably maybe already have those images. 4-bit at least, yeah. So we can just use that. So maybe this is... okay, so we have no image load yet. So let's check the version of CircuitPython too. I don't know what's on this PyPortal. 7.0. So let's grab two... well, actually, let's check it on this as well. Yeah, let's check it on this. So we will need image load. And I do want to use this new one. A bunch of these open now. Okay, there we go. This is now showing. We could do the same thing to scale it up, maybe. It's kind of nicer to see it a little bigger there on the screen. So that is working fine. Again, on 7.0 something here. 00 alpha 1. So maybe we could... I'm pretty sure there's a newer one than that even. We might as well, while we're here, we could go ahead and just test that on the newest one as well. Again, I don't think there would be any issues, but doesn't hurt. It only takes a second or two. I'll grab 630, because that's the stable release currently. I'll grab 7.0 alpha 3. And then we'll go to S3, and here in a minute, we'll grab one from before 620 beta 4. I think it was. That way we just confirm all the different paths. So let's go, we could just close this because it's not going to reconnect. And we've got to go to bootloader. So show the camera maybe. Double press. Too far. Okay, so let's just go newest first. PyPortal 7.0 alpha 3. Oh. Okay, that one is good. So let's go 630. And I'll just double press the reset here. That back on the angle there. .630 PyPortal. Hey Dexter, building a slider widget for display layout. Hey, that'd be awesome. The I think moving forward, we're putting those in the CircuitPython org, so it'll probably end up maybe as like its own library instead of being inside layout. But you can definitely still, it would be a good idea to extend widget, which is a part of that layout. So it'll end up using that library, but probably live outside of it. But yeah, that sounds awesome. I'd be super excited to see that. Okay. So this one's working good. This is 630, believe, right? Let's just double check. I know I'm always double checking things. 630, yeah, okay. Cool, yeah. So now let's get an old one, just so we can. Actually, let's get two. Let's get the specific one that was broken. 620 beta 4. And then we could also get one from before that. 610, let's say. We'll go back to bootloader. And let's do the specific one. So this one should now be broken when we put it on here, because we removed the hotfix that was specifically for this one beta release. Yeah, so we got an error there. Type error, which is the type of error that we were catching. There's an extra keyword argument given, so it seems like what happened is a new keyword argument got added to the core code, but it was not in quite yet. So this one is broken, which is actually good. That confirms everything that we think is true still. But if we go to any one older than this, like that 610, then it should actually go back to working fine. I think I missed my double click there. Here we go. 610 should work fine because of the actual fallback code that we want, like the other half of that if statement, as opposed to the try block. So let's go 610. Oh, wrong one. Downloads. .10. Okay. Yep, that one is good as well. And it would have rendered slower, but it's maybe not super easy to tell at this speed. If we made it real big, like all the way to the full screen. Of course, I also don't know how scale interacts with that. It's not really doing more pixels of reading, so maybe that wouldn't make it any slower. But anyway, this would be back to using the Python code instead of the C code. So I think we're all good there. I think everything is working how I'm expecting. So we can just run pre-commit, get this ready for a PR, and then get that created. Whoa. Was that? Oh, I was in Python. What is this? Special variables. Does this show you? I don't know. I don't use this console very much. Does this show you all the variables that you create in here? Like something. That is pretty nifty. I've never seen that before. I don't know how I don't know why it started showing this window. I don't think normally this right half of this is on here. Anyway, that's super cool. But we don't need that right now. We need the terminal. We want to go pre-commit. It's just what? Pre-commit. Run all files. Is that right? All files. It's been a minute. Let me just do help. H. Okay, so we want a run, and then after the run, I think it's like all files. Run hooks. Can you go pre-commit run-h? Oh, okay. All files, yeah, there it is. Oh, -a is the shortcut for that. That's actually nicer. Pre-commit commit run A. That's kind of nice. I like that. What tests? Do we have tests in here? Wow, there's actually quite a few tests. Interesting. I didn't know there were tests in this library. Okay, looks like everything passed. I don't think I changed anything that Sphinx would care about, but we could do this just to double check. Okay, that seems fine. Okay, I think we're just ready to push this one. Let's check out the try, check out the accept. Got all the code that was inside the accept. That's the only change. That looks good. Move read into fallback for 620 beta 4. I always mess up. I'm not sure if is it a dash on the last one? I don't remember exactly where the dots are at and where the dashes are at, but something like that. Okay. Push that. We don't want to go to Adafruit. So yeah, all of a sudden this is not tending to have the right remote anymore. Used to always just by default know what I was trying to do, but lately I've had to change it here. So there's a bunch of other commits that just were not in my fork yet, it looks like. This is the latest commit. That's the only change I made today. But the rest of these are changes just since the last time I pushed my fork. So they show up here. Definitely on foamyguy. So now this page will pop up. So this resolves, is it 50? Yeah. Beta 4. Tested successfully with Funhouse on 630. And PyPortal with 630. And I'm just going to put the latest one. I know we tested on some of the older ones as well, but really the newest ones are the ones I think we care about kind of the most. We were on, was it Alpha 3? Alpha 4? Alpha 3. Okay, so it's dash alpha dot 3. Dash alpha dot 3. Okay, so that is our housekeeping task for the day. Not that we can only do one a day, but it just happens to be one. I was going to work on this library anyway, and I came across that issue. I knew that was waiting out there for us to come back to, so I thought that'd be a good thing to start with. Nice and easy, a little quick warm-up. The next thing that I want to work on is this, which is trying to make ImageLoad work with file-like objects. So something that might not necessarily be a file object, but implements enough of the functions that it behaves like a file object. And the place where this actually comes from is this PR in the core from about 2 weeks ago. This person writes, basically they want a way to show an image that comes from the internet. So like request.get, getting an image right here, feeding it into a bytes.io. In this case, that is the file-like object that we're interested in. And then trying to have a way to load it into display.io. So in this case, it's looking at on-disk bitmap. But we also have the ImageLoad library, which Deshipu mentioned, and this person looked at, and they said that it only loads from a file. I believe I tested this and found that it was looking for a file object, and it didn't take bytes.io. Bitmap tools could work to solve the problem, but it would require writing a bytes.io bitmap reader. And Scott mentioned the best option is to fix ImageLoad to take any file-like object. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Although, thinking about it a little bit, I wonder if the reason that it doesn't work is possibly that possibly read into does not work with a file-like object. And if that's the case, it would have to be changed in the core. But I think what we'll do is definitely we'll test it. We'll see what the error is. We'll see if it's coming from inside the core and read into. If it is coming from inside the core, I think what I'll try maybe is manually using the old read into code and see if it works this way. If it does not work this way either, then we'll try to make the changes to get it to work this way. And we can look into the C code. I'm not super confident that I would be able to update the C code. If it does require changes in the core, that is. But one thing we could do is if the Python code needs to be changed to work and we make the changes to the Python code, maybe we could talk with Kmatch and perhaps they could carry those changes over, like re-implement them on the C side. Or we could look into it as well. It might be a little above my head. I don't have a whole lot of experience in the core. So that's kind of what we want to do. And to start with, I think we really just want to see the error. So in order to do that, we need to whip up a little example here that is basically doing this. Saving it into a bytes.io, and then we want to try to load it into an ImageLoad. So we can start actually with this example. I think makes a good place to start. Let's go URL equals, we're going to fill that in later. Let's go this in here. We need the request stuff. I probably don't have. Oh, let's go back to the funhouse. Back to here. So we don't have requests on here yet. Let's see. Which version did we leave this on? 620. We want a newer one than that. So let's go double click. For this, I think we should just use the absolute newest, I believe. Oh, I missed the double click again. There we go. Oh, let's we can use this. There we go. Okay, got that error again. It does that like, I don't know, half the time. It's pretty random. Sometimes it is sad about that device disappearing when it reboots, and sometimes it seems to handle it okay. So we're gonna need requests. And I still have not updated my, put the chat back. I still have not updated my automatic bundle downloader, so it's still downloading the 6 bundle. I need to do that still. But I do know now that the 7 bundle is on this page. We want requests. It's a single file. Are we gonna need anything else? Let's check the examples. So this is the ESP32 spyway. This is not the example we want. Here we go. Yeah, this is the one we want. This is for a 32S2. We could get secrets as well. I think I put my secrets file. The URL. Well, let's so let's just show the IP. Okay, create the socket, create the HTTPS session. Text. What does this get? Okay, there's some stuff. That's fine. Let's do that first. Let's just make sure that we're actually fetching correctly the stuff from the internet. And then we'll change this over to an image and we'll try to load it up with ImageLoad. So to start with, actually, we're going to just comment this stuff out. So we want to get this. Okay, we probably want to close. Okay, fetching text from, got the response, print it. Yeah, that seems good. Can't save. Let's go save as. Okay. I don't have secrets yet. But I saved that. So let's do that. What's the easiest way? I think if we just plug in the PyPortal. Can just copy it. Okay, so this one's text URL instead of URL. Let's fix that. OS error 0. Oh, we might have gone back to accidentally saving on the PyPortal. I may unplug the PyPortal. This says my IP address is none. Let's just try that one again and see what it does. Okay, yeah, we might not have been on the right device. Let me go. Seems like it's not connecting to the network. Let me try a hard, pull the power and go back. Be missing some of the code. No, we got the same. We got the same error. Okay, what are we doing wrong here? I think we're. Let me actually look at the secrets. Actually, let me do that over here. Actually, let's do that this way. Let's go like this. Yeah, it should be okay. And 700 alpha 3. I missed some of the code from here. Connect. I didn't. Yeah. Skipped these because they're printing extra stuff. But I need this. I wonder if we could have a way to have a different error message. Okay, where am I at here? We want this to be before we print the IP address. There we go. We got an IP. We're fetching. Got some text back. Now we're good. Okay, so I'm not super familiar with Bytes.io. So I think actually one more thing I'm going to do is... I think I'm going to try to put this text into a bytes.io and see... Just try to play with it for a minute and see how it behaves. This is saying basically it's going to be response.content. Maybe instead of printing it like this, what if we go bytes.io is bytes.io response.content? We're going to have to import that, which is from IO. From IO import bytes.io. And I think then it's inside of this. I think do we do then like string content equals bytes.io dot read? Print string content. So I mean, I know this should print basically the same thing we did before, but it's sending it through this whole thing now. So let's see if this is actually how it works. We'll save that and then rerun. Sending request failed. We'll just try again. Or does maybe this is making it fail? Yeah. Let's go one more time. Seems like this might be making it fail though. Although this does fail back up here though, 34, which is before we did any of that stuff. Go back to how it was. And it works. So we don't do anything. It's not going to print the results. It'll tell us when it's done by printing those dashes. Okay, there we go. We got one to fail this way too. So that it's maybe just a fluke. We just need to try a couple more times maybe. Or does it fail if you never... Okay, yeah, no, it succeeded this time. So it can succeed. So that is one thing. When you are working with web content, you do typically want to put like a try catch and some retry logic, because there are times it can fail. You know, like it might fail once or twice or even 3 times, but then like if you just keep trying a couple more times, like can succeed. So definitely any kind of like project where you're using web stuff, you want to have some nice retry logic going on in there. This one doesn't have any because it's just a small example. I wonder why it fails quite this much, though. I mean, or if we were to go across the local network. There we go. Okay, and this did work. So it's not formatted as JSON anymore. I mean, it is, but it's inside of a byte string, and it has like new lines. So that does work. That does work pretty much how I was expecting. We put our content inside the constructor, and then we end up with a thing that works like f. Like if you go f dot or f equals open, you know, something dot text as read or whatever. Like you would do this, it would give you this file or this, you know, variable. You could call f dot read, that would read all the content out of it. And so this is working the same. It put all of our content into there and we can read it out. So I think let's try it with a bitmap. So why don't we just use the one that's in the ImageLoad library? I think we could just get that from GitHub. I think there's a way we can just get, yeah, this should work. And we don't want to print it anymore. We do want to put it in a bytes.io. We don't want to just read it back out. We don't want to print it. Instead, this does have stream true. Would we want that? I'm not sure. Let's call this bytes image. Let's go like this. And then these things. Okay. Yeah, it used to take a string and we're trying to give it a file like object. My guess is it will fail because it's going to try to call open, basically. Like, I think it would try to open the file to read the content. In this case, bytes.io kind of already is an open file, basically. Let's see, how did this fail? Did it fail yet? Still running. Oh, and I keyboard interrupted it now. Okay, well, let's let it try again. I didn't change the name. But it did successfully download it, I think. I mean, download it into memory. It's here, palette. The rest of this stuff should be good. Try that again. Whoa. Can't go side. See? Yeah, can convert bytes.io object to string implicitly. This is the error that we will need to fix / change the code to work on. Hey Keith, good morning. How's it going? Hope you're having a good day so far. So let's see here. Whoop, we already have this. Cannot convert bytes.io object to string implicitly. You know, maybe we should go this on this side and the camera on that side. That way, hopefully the, I guess it wasn't really covering up the code in this case too much anyway, but this way the serial is not covered up by the chat there. Okay, so I think we are to the point where that is the example code that we want to make work. The next thing we need to look at is just start finding where specifically this failed. So it actually failed inside of a init, which is before we get to read into. Can't convert bytes.io. So let's look inside of lib ImageLoad. Is this BMP init? No, this says regular init. Okay. This does say file name. And it was on line 42. It says, yeah, with open file name as file. So what do we want to do? We want to say, like, basically if this parameter file name is a bytes.io, or should we say has read and has seek? Or should we test if it's a string? If it's a string, then it's a file name, we need to open it. If it's anything other than a string, let's just assume that it is a file-like object. So this is where context processors trip me up a little bit. We're saying with open as file. How can we go like, if file name is a string, then with open as file, but else if this was not a string, then just treat file name as file. Without having to just duplicate all the code inside of it. We could definitely just copy paste it, but it's not really what we want to do, I don't think. You can't really go inside of that context without having done the open. Hey, Samurai. I'm just catching up a little bit. Assume it's a bytes.io object, then convert it to a Unicode. Get to text. What's calling? I think I might have been behind a minute or two, but this is the code. Caught up to the code here where it's calling open. I kind of want to take the with out because I don't know how to do this without duplicating all the code and still use the with. But if we take the with out and we just say like file equals open, and then we call file close afterwards, then it's super easy to just say like, if the file name was a string, we do that. If the file name was not a string, then we just say file equals file name. And then we would still close it at the end. We still would want to close it, I think. Can you close a bytes IO? I'm not sure. With is safer for random errors as a general principle. I don't know. I feel like that's the people, like I see people want to use it. I see it seems like a desirable thing to do. But I don't actually really understand the specific reasons why. I don't really understand which cases that it's actually safer or better for. I mean, the main thing that, in my mind, the main thing that makes it better is that you don't have to remember to close. So if you open the file and you forget to close it, then you can sometimes run into trouble. And if you use with, then like it automatically gets closed, and that part of it is definitely beneficial. But in a situation like this, I'm not sure if we can do this without having to duplicate all the code inside of this, because if we try to like move this back outside of the context, then the file will be closed already. Can we do like this? What if we do this? Can we say like file or file name equals file name, and then if type file or file name, I don't know how type, does it return a string? Type it returns class string. How do you test for a type? Python check if object is type or string, really. Is instance type. What do we say? If type though. Is instance. Maybe we should do that. Is instance oh, that's nice. Object. So there we would say string, I think, or str, because that's what goes here. Just str like this. If it is a string, then we want to open it. File or file name equals open file name rb. No, but this is now opening it outside of the with, isn't it? It's not going to get closed properly, is it? So if it's not a string, then it's just going to get set into this. If it was a string, then it opens it, and then right here, if we said this, with file. So that's closer to what I have here. Do you know, Samurai, if this will still... Would it still close it, or would we need to now add the close at the end of this? Let's give this a try. I don't necessarily think it'll work, but what about putting the indented stuff into a function? That's nice. I do think I like that. So we'd have process process the stuff, then we're not like not duplicating it because we're calling the function. So where did this get us to? This got us to 53, and it says just a type error. Type error, but no like message. Should still close or deinit whatever's on the with line. Okay. Or should we... What is this? Bitmap. What would you pass for bitmap? Maybe we should not be overloading file name here. Maybe we should be having like instead of passing file name. Well, but file name is required, right? Because that's a positional. I was gonna say maybe if we had like a file equals and then you pass it an already open file. There's a couple different ways the API could work. Let's think on it for a minute. Let's see if we could fix the next error though, which was, I wish this thing would save the terminal for us. It's one of the nice things. Maybe I'll grab a TO window open up here. That way it saves the history. Okay, so that's from 53 in a init, which is from 59 in BMP init, which I guess is probably just going to be calling load again from indexed. Which is coming from read into. So I do think that change would have to be inside the core. But I'm curious if this branch of the logic works. So we could cheat right here and just force it to use the else block. Oh, that worked. It's the camera. This side, scooch it over. So that did work. We can prove it, I guess. Let's change it up to a different image, why don't we? So I think there's some more in here, right? We can just grab RLE. I don't know what RLE. Does this look different? That seems the same. Color wheel. This will be good exercise to see if it actually works with a little bit bigger of an image as well. Maybe we do want that stream thing. This is on URL. I do think I'm going to open a TO window. It's nicer to have that separate. TO. No dice on that one. Honestly, that one might be too big, although it didn't crash. Not sure why that didn't work. Let's try another one of the small ones. This one looks different. Oh, that's scaled. Honestly, that might have worked, but we're only looking at the top left corner because we scaled it so big, and the top left corner is just all black pixels, I think. Why don't we try this on scale 1? Let me switch these back this way. Yeah, so that did work. It just was off the screen, and it doesn't fit the size of the screen either, so it's kind of the different size there, but it does work. So that's awesome. So this is working. So really, the main code to make this usable on all the devices that needs to change is inside the core. The other code, the only other change that's needed was this part that we did. And then if bitmap tools read into had a way to deal with it as well. Although this says file. Let's dig into the core a little bit. This will be, again, I'm out of my depth a little bit in the core. We'll say that up front. But we might be lucky and possibly there's just something like specifically checking the type, and maybe we can add one additional type to it. Something like that. Let's try to find that. Yep, we're going deep on this one. We missed last night. Yeah, sorry for anybody who was interested in watching last night. The thunderstorms rolled in at like 4. It was real crazy dark and stormy for like 30 or 45 minutes. It knocked out the power. We didn't get back up until like 9 o'clock or so last night. Out for about 5 hours, so, and I was right in the window. I was gonna try to stream there, so hopefully, fingers crossed for next week. I'll do the same kind of plan next week. Plan on doing Friday night and knock on wood a little bit. As long as we don't have anything else crazy go on, then hopefully we can do that. So let's go GitHub. So it's what, GitHub Adafruit. CircuitPython. Oh, we got a bunch of things. Okay. So this is where it's tough for me. I'm not 100% sure where this code is at actually, though. Is it shared bindings or shared modules? I still don't quite have a full grasp on So it's not roto zoom. We do want read into. Read into. Okay, so I don't see any. It's not like there's some kind of check inside of here that's like, if the type is this, then throw the exception. It does seem like, and I don't not formally trained at reading C, so don't know 100% for sure, but it seems like this is the file argument. It seems like this is declaring the type for it, and that it is just failing based on the fact that this declared type doesn't match what we're passing in. Does this have to be imported or something? Like, is there a bytes.io analogous one of these? If so, one thing we could do is maybe make a build where we just hard swap this for the bytes.io one. I know that would then go break the file one, so that's not really the desirable solution we want in the end. But it would tell us if any of the rest of this code needs to change. If we could just change the type here to bytes.io and then it starts working, then we know the rest of this code is actually fine. So where do these types come from? And is there one for bytes.io? Let's look inside of IO. Is that in here? No. Go too far? IP address. I don't actually know where IO. IOCTL? Is that the same thing? Doesn't look like it. Would PYB Object T be incompatible? Yeah, that's a good question. I do not know for sure, but I am assuming kind of that the answer is yes, based on the way the code's crashing. But yeah, I'm not actually sure. I don't know, where do we get the IO module? Is it specific? So let's look at the port we're on, I guess. It's not specific to. So this part doesn't have IO. Why don't, man, IO though is so common. Let's try this. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Let's go Adafruit main. Let's pull it. Let's try just seeing if we can find anything with IO. While this is actually loading up, let me ping Kmatch as well. Real files. Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Kmatch is the one that wrote a lot of this code, so I'm sure, well, I'm pretty darn sure he's going to understand it a lot more than I am. So I believe that Kmatch wrote it, so get their thoughts. I think. Okay, so this is loaded up, right? Yeah, let's go get grep IO. So yeah, this is what I was afraid of, is IO is super common. Maybe we could look up bytes IO. Oh, this, yeah, it's still gonna keep finding. There's so many things. Okay, this is not a good. How do we get out of this? Exit, quit. I don't know how to get out of this. What if I Control C? Is it? Okay, it's like Vim. It's looking for a queue. So could we go maybe bytes IO? That looks more promising. This says MP type bytes IO. An MP and bytes IO stream. So this seems like a long shot, but if we simply replace that type that we found with this, would it work? Let's try it. Do we want to build on main? Yeah, I think so, right? So we will have to go find that code again, which was in here. I don't know, this seems dicey, right? I don't know if this will work. If we just change that, save this, and then try a build. Ports, ESP. Oh, I don't know if I have all the IDF. What do you have to do? You have to run export something, right? Isn't there a README? So I think I did this part, maybe. I think I need to do this. Where'd that go? There it is. No. PDF export. Put it in there. Maybe I didn't install that. No, that's there. It's not marked as runnable? order is this in? It's not marked as runnable. Maybe I haven't run the install. Where do we want to go? chmod, ESP IDF. I don't know why this is not auto-completing. Plus X. Be sourced, not executed. Is this doing, is that why there's a space here? Dot? Does this work like this? Yeah, I guess so. I don't recall ever seeing source. I don't think I knew that you could source by just doing a dot like that. Okay, we can compile, okay. This seems okay. So then what? Backup and no. We do want to be in there. Make no. What's the board? LS boards. Make board funhouse. All right. See if this. If this will build. There's a lot of stuff that got printed there. Seems okay. So we might have to actually make a different parameter in the C code. If this does work, then it's still clearly it's not the actual fix, right? Because we need it to support both files and bytes IOs. I don't know, and I don't know if C code. I mean, I think it's more strong about types. I don't think it wants you to just pretend it's a different type, so we might have to have another parameter, and then the Python code will need to pass it as a different named parameter or something. Yeah, we did get an error here. So this says declaration specifiers or ... Do we need to, do those types have to be like imported or something like that? Or am I just way off in left field here? Let's just undo that for now. Does this get found anywhere else? No. So there is no kind of like importing. Includes. Interesting. So maybe we do need an include for that. I wonder if the file one might be coming from here? I don't know where this is. stdlib. Oh, is that from Kmatch? Not sure. Ah, Jepler made it. Okay, I was wrong. Must have misremembered that. I know Kmatch has done work inside bitmap tools as well. So this says expected declaration specifiers or ... Yeah, this is not my problem though. Okay. I kind of think this feels like it just doesn't know about that type. stdlib.h. Didn't find anything. So this is finding all the cases where it gets used. Really what I want to find is where it's declared. Does this do that? This is only in one port though. This only has file in one spot, it's right here. It seemed like that file type is in here. Where's the code in here? Nothing with this. Can I control click? Maybe that would... No. I'm not actually sure where it's importing that from. It seemed like the only two that I found were inside of specific ports. That doesn't make sense to me. So it would need to be in all the ports, I think. Or it would need to be like outside of the ports somewhere. I would have thought. This is importing some things from Pi, but not this one. Yeah, I might just not know enough of not know enough about how all the C necessarily works together to be able to actually figure this part out. IO bitmap T self. Ignoring C, we look at how the data is ordered. Bytes versus bytes IO. I'm not sure how to look at how it's ordered. I think it must be ordered the same though for it to have worked when we forced it back to the Python code. If the data was ordered differently, I think we either would not have seen the image or would have seen a messed up image, wouldn't we? These all say T at the end. T for type, maybe? This was MP type bytes IO without a T. I mean, surely that's not just like do this, is it? That seems so kind of unlikely. Yeah. This one's unknown type. Okay. So the other one was not an unknown type, so that's actually maybe a promising sign. Yeah, because if it was totally unknown, then we would have got that unknown. So this is maybe we just chose the wrong one. How could we check the order? If we just like print the first one or something? Is that what you mean when you say check the order? Like if we did well, so let's take away okay, let's set this back to 4-bit because that's the image we have on the device and it's smaller. Let's start there. Is that one closed now? Yeah, it looks like I don't have it anymore. Image load. So actually, why don't we do this? Let's go save as code web image. Yeah, that is not what we wanted to do. Save as in here, code web image. Let's go delete that one. In open code. Missed the beginning, so it could be thinking of it wrong, but maybe we don't need to mess with C layer at all. Ah, I gotcha. I do think we will have to change the C code The reason why I think that is basically what we did. Let me show what we did so far. So, well, why don't we look on the device here? So this one is inside bitmap. That one we didn't change. So we did this part here, which is basically trying to find out whether you passed a file name or a bytes IO, basically is what we care about, although any file-like object should work, anything that has the right functions. So we changed that, and then the other thing that we did have to change was right inside of indexed, which this is still inside ImageLoad right here. The way that this used to work, I added this false and to kind of cheat to make it skip this part. So the original code is written like this without the false and what happens is when it executes this, it gets a type error on, I think on file. Did it tell us though? See, I did start changing the code around, although I do still have this one. So let's see what that error was again. Oh, I have TO. Can't do this. Oh, it's downloading also. Here we go. Keyboard. Did I save CircuitPy? Oh, I did. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. So do this. And get this as well. So we end up with this type error, which doesn't have a message, which is interesting that there's not more to it. So I guess we don't know specifically that it is on file for sure, but I kind of think it is on file, which ends up pointing to line 91 in here, which is where it tries to call, and this one is what's calling into that core bitmap read into, which was the code I was just trying to mess with there. And so when we did, whoops, we got did we get insert on? Or is it just highlighting it like that? Okay. So then when I put this in here, it forces this to be false, which makes it so we always use the else. And then in this case, I believe it works. Yeah, this one works because it shows the image there. So I do think if the bytes were in a different order, you know, like red, green, blue wise, or even like Indianness, right? Anything like that, I think we either would not get an image shown or we would get a messed up image shown, like maybe the colors being wrong or it being like reversed or mirrored or something like that, maybe. So I think that our bytes are in an order that we can use if we can get it to just overlook the fact that the type is different. In the C code, that is. Because in the Python code, which the Python code is implementing basically the same logic as far as I understand it. The Python code here, in this else, I believe all of this is actually doing the exact same stuff as all of this. This is just obviously written in the C code. So because the Python works, I think did I just cut that out? Yeah, let's put that back. Yeah, for sure, no problem. Decode, it does have some stuff in here for like different order ones as well. That might be worth trying to check out. I don't know how to get specifically that kind of image though. Maybe we could do it with GIMP or something. So let's, what were the other things that had bytes.io in the name when we grepped? There's this one, which I didn't try. Did I add an S here? Did we have this wrong? No, okay. And when it's like this, it would say not found. Unknown type. Yeah. Okay. So again, this is kind of wishful thinking, I think. I don't think if we just change this, it's going to work, but worth a try while we're here. Yeah. And that one does say unknown type. So that one it's not actually finding. Maybe it should just be object type T? Where's the original one? There we go. UIB file object T was the original one. UIB file object T. This seems too generic to me. Yeah. This is a different error though. Conflicting types. We need to change it. Is there like another place we would need to change it as well? This has only a init C. Yeah. So maybe it would need to be here as well. So maybe we should go back and try putting both Maybe we should try putting those bytes.io ones in both spots. Yeah. For all three? So this one has different... This one seems to have different things in the parameters. Is there arg file? This is a type error. With null. Is this why we are not getting any thing in the error message? If this was a string, would we see it get printed if we put all these back? This might be what's raising the actual error we're getting. Does not like that. Translate. So maybe we need to call translate? Did not crash this fast. It's gotta be a good sign. Do not know how to do that. Close this though. Translate will compress the error string. This will be kind of cool. If this prints, if we can rerun the code and have it fail back with this taken out using this build, and if it prints our new message, then we know that this is specifically the place where we're failing from. Maybe we could just add like or type bytes.io right here. Like this is saying, I think this is saying like is type of this argument here equal to this type. And that one is MP type file IO, which is much closer to MP type bytes IO like we saw before. So maybe we could just tack on an OR here that says OR bytes IO, and then maybe it would just work. I don't know. That might be wishful thinking. Some more. Let's see. This looks like it's building. Yeah, this built. So we have a firmware. So the next question is, does it crash immediately when we put it on the device? So let's go here. Bootloader mode. No, I think I missed it. Yeah. Let's try again. I don't know, for whatever reason, the timing on this one feels just a hair different to me. Let's go here. So we made ports ESP build funhouse firmware. I don't think I can copy files out of there like this. Okay. This is reconnected as a CircuitPy drive. And so the first time it runs, nothing is going to be different because we still have the code in here, which has false and. So that's forcing it to use the Python code, not the core code. So I think this still works the same as it did a minute ago. But if we take out that false and, then I think we fail. And hopefully we raise an exception that says something. Okay, mess this up. Here we go. I might have changed something down here as well. Let me undo past that, and then we'll take this back out. We'll save that. All right, so come on. Print the word something. I think that's what we added, right? Yeah, something right here. It did. It did. Okay. So this is the code that's raising the exception that we are having. We know that git grep bytes IO. Yeah, for real. This is cool to me because I don't poke around in the course so much. So having it compile and actually do something that I was trying to make it do, big step for me for sure. So we have this MP type bytes IO, which looks pretty similar to MP type file IO. So how do we write an OR? Is it pipes? Double pipes? Is it the same as Java? Yeah. So can we just do like OR? We want OR? No, we don't want OR. We want AND, which was double ampersands. Yeah, we want, because this, and not is exclamation point, is that right? Yeah. So this is saying if this equates to false because of the exclamation point. So if not, the return of this. So yeah, we want if that is false and if this is false, which is, I don't know if you can put this much white space. Really, we want the same line, but with the bytes IO. Yeah. If those are both true, then we raise the error. Should have done a make clean, maybe? Oh. Ninja. Work to do for the ninja. That seemed super fast. I'm not sure I trust that, honestly. Kind of want to do one of these and just make sure that we're actually making the new thing here. Let's check. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure, but we can definitely take a closer look. Man, this would be super cool if this ends up working. I still kind of doubt it, because like this code here, for instance, might be the next thing that crashes, and it might crash harder. I don't know what happens in C code if you mix types. Possibly, though, we will no longer raise this exception, but then go to this line and then have bigger problems, because this is trying to do back to that file object T right there. I should do that. Isn't there a flag you can do more CPUs? Does that make it build faster? Of course, I guess I could have just not done the clean too. That made it go faster. Okay, got our firmware. We're inside of here, firmware. We will go bootloader again. And nope, missed it. Still missed it. There we go. Stretch it out. Okay. Got the error this time. Okay, so let's see. We got the first one of our dash lines, and then we raised the type error last time. We could get the camera back too. Oh, it rebooted. Auto reloaded for some reason, so that must have changed the file. Input output error. And it is just coming from inside line 91, which is the same. This is the line that is calling read into. So we did change the error type. We are now no longer getting the type error because we changed that if statement. But we do have the next problem now, which is input output error, which I think is probably more not quite hard coded like this one was. This is an OS error. Yeah, we don't even have a raise OS error in here. Okay. So I don't think I know enough about C and these different object types to really get too much further. So I think what I'm going to do is see. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and PR this change because this change, along with using the else branch of this logic right here, with those two things together, it does allow you to use a bytes.io object. So in that case, if we make a PR from this and it gets merged, then any devices that are on an older version that does not have bitmap read into in the core, all of those would then be able to work with bytes.io and ImageLoad. And then we can make an issue, or we can mention maybe on that issue that already exists. We can ping Jepler, and we can make a reference to this new PR, and we can have it just say something like, the change in the library is done, and if we can change it in the core there as well, then we'll be able to do it. The other thing I guess we could do, if we wanted it to work on newer devices, could we still check if it's a string here? We can't, because it's actually a file by now. It's further up here. This is the only place where we know that it's a string. Yeah. I was gonna say maybe we could add. Where'd that go? Let's see, this is load. I'm gonna say maybe we could add something here. Like if the thing we passed was a string, then maybe skip this for now and use the Python code. That would make it work on the newer ones. Although it would revert back to that that slower reading code. I mean, I guess we could catch. Ironically, if we put back a try catch and if we caught the OS error and just had this in the accept block, then it would also work on the new ones. But that's what we basically just got done removing. That pass actions, by the way? If that passed actions, we could request a review. Yeah, it did. Let's do that. Okay. So let's go back to ImageLoad. Let's make a new branch. For bytes.io. Oh, sadness. Oh, it's there still. Interesting. Still want to go from main because nothing else has been merged yet. We don't need to fetch. Ooh, excuse me. Let's see, we were in we're in the top level init, I think, right here, right? Yeah. It's here. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Maybe we should also add an example. So we don't really need these lines here. These lines were because it was printing multiple things and it was printing the response that it got back. I think we could just do like get complete. That's probably fine. We don't really need the end one. Yeah, this looks good, I think. I think we should make a comment at the top that just says what it does. I guess this one doesn't have one. Any of these have one? It seemed like it. No, this one does. Basic image load example. Image load example for ESP32S2 that loads an image fetched via Adafruit requests using bytes IO. Okay. I think we're good here. I think I want to... I guess it's tough, right? There's no builds for the funhouse that are before read into got added. So maybe we should have been on the Pi portal where we can use an older version. But we could maybe eventually add a second example that runs on the Pi portal. Does the internet, it would need to do the internet setup differently. It's got to use ESP32 SPI. For now though, I think this is probably okay for now. So let's run pre-commit. And we added an example. Should get listed in here. Oh, the rest of them are not here. From web. It would probably be good to add the rest of these as well, but I think that can be a different PR. It's not really related to this. I don't know if this is the best name for this file or file name. It does represent what it is, but like once we get to here, we know that it's no longer the file name. It's technically not really correct anymore. I don't know, we'll see if anyone says anything on the review. Not sure a better way to name it, really. Okay, we added the example. Did this pass? No, we got something here. Line's too long. I don't know if I can do anything about that because the string is just that long. This says SSL should be before board. Probably it wants Wi-Fi and socket pool as well. Maybe I/O too. I don't know. So the socket pool should be before ImageLoad. We moved that. Like a bunch of these, yeah. This wants I/O before Wi-Fi. Requests before ImageLoad. So then I think we should be down to just line too long. And I think we just have to put an ignore for that because we don't have a way to cut 13 characters and the rest of the string takes up the whole thing. I guess we could split the string across lines, but that's not so nice because then if you wanted to paste a new one, you would have to paste it in 2 halves, which is not great. So I think we just want to ignore that one. I don't know off the top of my head how to do that though. Do we have any other Pylint ignores? Not yet. I mean, I know it's a comment and it's like Pylint ignore something, but disable. silent colon disable equals line 2 long. Okay, past that time. Well, let's run in tests. Let's go docs, cpdocs. Title, right. This has to match. Only off by 1. Oh, this one's actually 1 extra. Need to be 1 extra? No, that one worked. Recommit passed. Docs built. I think we're good to go. Push this. We have our new example added to examples. We have our change inside of a init. And we have our actual new example. Bytes IO support. I just pushed that to Adafruit. That's a bummer. Delete this branch. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal because it's on a name that was unused, so it's not like I pushed it on top of anything else. Yeah. Indeed. So now the other weird thing is though, like if I delete it, how do I do this? If I delete it, then it won't be. Can I still push it into foamyguy? If we do this. So we push it to foamyguy now. And then we delete it on Adafruit. Deleted just now. So I should have none. Yeah, it's gone from here. But it is here. Okay, this is what we want. Okay. Whoops. I'm usually pretty good at checking on that too, and I just blew right past it. Okay, so this is pushed now, so we could make a PR with it. These changes begin the process of adding support for bytes IO and possibly other file-like objects. So let's see, how do we want to explain this? In order to achieve full support for this on modern versions, we will need to modify bitmap.readInto in the core to be able to work with file-like objects. Was able to successfully test this using the Python read into code from here. I think it shows a few lines. A little one box. In a one box, maybe? No, it only shows one line. So we want 118. For the purposes of testing, I just modified if statement to force it to use the Python read into code instead of the core bitmap tools.read into. We could put some more information about what we found, like in the core. Let's see, that was in bindings. Shared bindings. Right here. In the core, this line ends up raising a type error. As is in the core, this line ends up raising a type error. Is that not one box? That's a bummer. Does that link work? You can only have one box? I don't know. My test was run on Funhouse with Alpha 3. And it did show downloaded image. Is it download? I don't know if it counts as a download. I mean, we downloaded it to memory. Okay with accepting bytes IO object instead of file. Okay, I think I'm gonna be wrapping up here pretty soon. Folks, let me make this down just a bit. Poked around with this for a bit, but question is a bit beyond my capabilities at this point. Let's do this. Shepler. Whether it would be possible to modify it to accept bytes IO into file type objects. Hey Fede. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be heading out before too long here, so you caught us at the tail end. But I do appreciate you joining in. Hope you're having a good day and everything. Let's see. We got some good progress in. We were able to download and show an image using ImageLoad without saving it to a file, that's what we were trying to do. just writing it into bytes.io, and we were successful, but we had to we kind of had to revert back to like an older version of ImageLoad that's not making use of the new bitmap tools read into function, which is inside the core. So that core function will have to change if we want it to if we want to be able to use that. But it's really exciting that we were able to get it to work with Python code. I think that is a good sign that it should be possible to do in the core. Just might take a little bit more kind of dancing, I guess, if you will, in that function. It just needs to kind of be okay, like change the type check and then anything else that's going to be required for it to actually read out of a bytes object. I think we're good on this PR. Let me just read through one more time here and make sure I didn't put anything too crazy. You know what I should do is put a link back to, yeah, I need to put a link back to the issue that's in the core. And the issue, I made an issue in this library as well. Actually, I'll link to both of them. Okay, this is a question. Let's change that. And let's add those links, and then I think we're good. So one of them is to here. 51. I don't know the number in the core. 4831. Oops, that's not what we want to do to save it. Nope, I got these wrong. Got these backwards probably. Always get these backwards, whether it's square brackets first or almost call them curvy brackets, but parentheses would be a more accurate term for that, I guess. Yeah, there we go. So 51 works. And 4831 works as well. Okay. I think we're there. Let's just make sure these changes look all right. Yeah, got our example, got our docs for the example, and the actual change that was needed. All right. Got that created. Let's see, did anybody check in on this one? I think maybe not yet. Not yet. Okay. But yeah, that's cool. I'm excited we got it to show. I think it honestly, it probably will not end up being that hard to change the C code. It's just a little bit beyond me. But I could also be wrong. Maybe it's harder than I'm thinking it might be. But we'll see if we'll see what JetBlue thinks and kind of go from there. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up here for now. Again, the plan will be again on Friday. I'll try to do a stream in the deep dive slot. You know, I was planning on doing that yesterday, but got a thunderstorm came through and knocked out my power for a couple hours, so I was down for that time period, unfortunately. But next Friday, I will plan on doing that. So it is an hour later than Scott normally does deep dive. Normally the deep dive is at, well, he advertises it in Pacific time, but I'm in Central. So normally it's at 4 p.m. Central time, which is my time. And what I would be starting on Friday is actually 5 p.m. Central. So 1 hour later than the normal deep dive. is when I will be getting going. As long as, knock on wood again, we'll give it another knock on wood, as long as nothing else crazy happens. And then, of course, every week, Saturday, 10 a.m. Central is when I am doing this stream. So we're wrapping that up right here, but I'll of course, be back, next Saturday as well, and every Saturday for the foreseeable future at that time, 10 a.m. And so, yeah, thank you all for hanging out and the help that you offered me. Samurai, Keith, Johnny, Dexter, Fede2. Get everybody? Johnny. That was everybody. Yeah, I think I got everybody. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.